Hello, good evening, and welcome to my YouTube channel. You're joining me yet again for another episode of Cycle Chat, and I've got a really interesting guest with me this evening. And well, for those of you who will be watching this channel and keeping an eye on posts and videos coming out last few weeks, be no surprise that I've got Adam Watkins with me.
Hello.
Good evening.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Can you start by introducing yourself and your channel, and perhaps let viewers know what you're eating there? It looks quite nice.
Yes, okay. So I've just been served up rice with tomatoes, onions, mixed herbs, just a vegan feast. So it should put me in right at tea time. So it's like, anyway, I am another one of these internet people that just goes on bike rides and takes a camera and makes videos and stuff. So cycle vlogger, I think, is the kind of category that would come into. Started a YouTube channel. Didn't know my YouTube channel was started in 2007, which is, I don't know, quite a long time ago. But it wasn't really until 2016 that I started. I took the camera out for the first time and made a video about a bike ride, which I thought was boring as hell, but just keep doing it. And then people started watching and for some reason seemed to be enjoying it, like following the adventures. I think once you see like a person again and again and again, you want to tune in, see what they're doing, like get an update, see what's going on. I'll follow people online myself, and that's how it works. So that's me. Yeah, I do long distance stuff. So audax, started doing audax in 2013, I think it was, and been doing super randomers since then, which is the audax series of 200, 300, 400, and 600, all in a year. So that's kind of what I aim to do every year. And what else? People that watch my channel know that I like to stop and film piles of dirt at the side of the road. What else? And biscuits. There's a thing about biscuits because I always go out and just take a packet of biscuits, or, you know, I think I did Land's End to John O'Groats almost purely on hobnobs. So it's kind of, that's the thing.
So how did you first get into cycling?
It was 2011, and I was kind of a car person, so I had this Mazda MX-5, and that was my thing. That's what I did, but then I kind of got into cycling. So I was sat at the pub with my boss at work, and we were chatting about stuff, and I thought, is it possible to cycle from my home to work? It's 10 miles. And I thought, go on, I'd give it a go. So got a bike, which was this silver ladies bike. I've still got it. It's my Haggard hybrid bothy bike now. And yeah, I rode that. It killed me. So after about 2 months, I think I bought an electric motor from eBay, and I did a DIY eBay special on this bike, turned it into an e-bike. So I had this 250 watt motor on the front and massive, great big heavy battery on the back, and this hybrid bike was massively overloaded, and it was just a bad idea. So I did that for a bit, and then I thought, this is rubbish, I'm going to take it back off again. And then miraculously I was way stronger than I was in the first place, and then I just rode without the electrics. And yeah, I did a couple of sportifs. I did the Great Western ride down near Bristol here, which was a 50 or 60 miler, which absolutely killed me, but I loved it. And then in 2013 January, a mate he's passed away now sadly, but Spencer Pritchard from Backwell Road Cycling Club suggested start doing some audax rides. So I think the first one was probably the Jack and Grace audax 100k from Aztec West. So I got into audax in 2013, and it was that same year, I think, that I did the first Super Randomer series. So I just dived straight into it. So yeah, Brian Chapman in my first year of doing audax, it was pretty savage doing the first 600.
Is that like 5,600 meters or more? No, it's more than that. It's 10,000, isn't it?
It was back in the day when it wasn't quite 10,000. I think it was 8.5. Yeah. 8,500 meters for a 600, and it was the old route. So if you do the Brian Chapman ever since 2015, I think they changed the route to be like more of a main road return, which is much easier, much faster, but it's not as hilly. if you're a bit slower, then you're likely to come across loads of motorcyclists on the main roads in Wales. They're a bit of a menace.
What would you say is your favourite part of going out on your bike then?
Favorite part of riding?
Yeah.
I think it just kills so many birds with. Oh no, that's not vegan. It feeds loads of birds with one scone. It just keeps you fit, keeps you entertained, keeps you motivated. It can take you places. Like, I don't ever sit in traffic jams anymore. If I sat in a traffic jam, I'm really royally annoyed because I don't do that anymore. If I go out, I do have a car, but I don't use it very much. What's the most? I think the most fun thing about it is having more than, if you have more than one bike, you can have a tool which is like perfect for the job, and there's nothing like having a bike which is the right bike for doing that thing. So I got a fast one just above me here, which gets used, I don't know, a handful of times a year for time trials, I guess, and maybe a summer ride just to have a blast. And no better feeling than summer, no mud guards, lightweight bike, down in the aero position. You're about 5k's faster than you would be normally.
I'm trying to read your frame. It looks like it's a Cannondale. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it's a Cannondale. It's a CAD 8. It's from 2012. I bought it new. This was my first road bike in 2012 after doing those couple of sportifs. Yeah, it's pretty much hung up there all the time. Yeah.
Have you ever bonked?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm still falling for that one, although I'm better than I was. But when was the worst?
Is it hard? Is it harder because you're a vegan as well sometimes? I guess over the years, because you end up on petrol forecourts and things like that, it's not so as much of a problem as it perhaps it is in your early days when you perhaps stopped at cafes more often.
Yeah, it's the cafes. That's the bit that gets you, because a lot of cafes, if you're with a group, it's nice to go to a cafe. I mean, I would if I knew there was something there that I could eat. But they're not, I mean, all the time there always is. I mean, if you can ask for a few slices of bread, you can eat some food. So yeah, beans on toast with no butter is the staple, but it can only get better from there, really.
Okay, so there's sort of questions that I ask everybody. I've got some questions just for you as well. Some of them from me, and I've also asked my viewers to put some questions in to put to you as well. I'll start with a couple of my own questions. I'm going to ask the question everybody probably wants to know the answer to. It's been bugging me for months. Paul Desue chimed in the comments asking, "Can I ask you about the BSO you bought recently?" For anybody that doesn't know, BSO stands for bike-shaped object. Now, I'm guessing he might be referring to the track attack. What happened to it?
Boom, 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 boom. Actually, that's the wrong song, isn't it? Holy hell, that was heavy. I just about got it up there. If anyone wants the track attack, could be your new bike day. 10 hours unlocked. It's a moment of truth. Is it still there? Has someone got themselves a new track attack? Am I going to get the bus home? It was at the top. Oh no, it's the track attack. Oh, it's still there. I gotta ride it home.
I've still got it.
Yeah.
I got a shed. It's in the shed with the turbo and the rollers. All the stuff that doesn't get used. So yeah, it's hung up upside down in the shed. I took a photo of it recently. It has got cobwebs on it. I still haven't touched the chain or cassette, which has, no joke, I think 17 years worth of oil on it. I think the owner oiled it up every time because it was his daughter's bike. So every time his girls went out on the bikes, I think he oiled the chain. They did probably 2 miles on it, came back, and then about 6 months later when they took him out again, he put another load of oil on it. So it's an actual oil slick of a chain.
I watched your video back recently and I was like, oh my God, that chain.
It's horrendous. So I haven't it's a big job. Even just to take that chain off, I'd have to get my chain removal link tool and I'd have to touch it. I'm not going to touch it. But I had grand plans for that. I might put a electric motor on it and do delivery on it.
Oh, that I'd love to see. Do you still do delivery every now and again?
I hadn't done it for a year, but then last week I did I did 3 nights in a row, which was quite fun. Yeah.
So I'd like to think back to last summer, if we can, and Paris-Brest-Paris.
Remember it well.
Yeah. Is any sort of standout moments from that experience that you can share with everyone?
Oh, probably meeting you, Richard. It's got to be one.
Apart from that, what about the journey? How did you get there?
I benefited from an excellent club organizer. Paul Rainbow from Audax Club Bristol set up a group trip, hotel and coach package. So thanks to him, I got there. I don't think I would have coped with the logistics myself. Yeah, I got to the hotel. It was, sadly, I think it was it 40k from the actual start? So we had an 80k round trip ride the day before to sign on, during which it hammered down.
Yeah,
it was horrible. Yeah, and I got a puncture. The lowest moment has to be before it even started. Stood in the queue of about 2,000 people, all with bikes shuffling along in a raining, cold queue.
Yeah,
and then feeling the hard resistance of solid concrete underneath the front tire that had gone down. And thinking, are they gonna let me ride? Because I can't fix my puncture before I get into the bike check, because I'm literally stood right outside the bike check, and so I got my bike checked with a puncture, and they still let it through.
Yeah, the start itself was very, very wet. I remembered arriving. I'd outride the day before, and it just got so wet. It was a little bit dispiriting. But once the race or ride, whatever you like to call it, started, it was okay. I didn't get wet much. I think there was one night where it rained.
Yeah, it was really nice. I couldn't have I wouldn't trade anything from that adventure for anything else. I don't think. The worst bit was that puncture, but there were so many good bits, like rolling into. Oh, do you remember any of the place names?
Vaguely. Brest.
What was that place that was like a festival when you kind of rode?
Villain du Jour, I think.
Yeah, that.
One.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know if you said it right, but that one. I arrived there in pitch black. I don't know what time it was. Let's say 2 a.m. or something. Nah, it's probably midnight. But then on the way back, I arrived at 2 p.m. and it was an absolute party. Yeah. The whole town was out on the roads, and they had like a loudspeaker tannoy, and just bikes after bikes after bikes parked up at the side of the road.
People, you was through the middle, and people up on the sides and looking down on you, and that made the atmosphere so much greater as well, because it was like you was a professional pro rider running through their city at that point.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get cheered on unless I do a hill climb. Yeah, you're not going to get that much cheering. It was great, and they had showers and beds and top notch.
What was the feeling or what went through your mind when you finally got to the bridge at Brest?
I was surprised to get there, because I wasn't really looking at my route that much. I was just following wheels, and I knew Brest was arriving. But then when I suddenly saw the bridge, I thought, oh, hang on, this is it. We're actually here, because such a long journey. I don't really. It would be a mistake to keep in my head where the milestones occurred, I think, because you just have to look a couple of hours ahead at all times. But yeah, the sun was out. I took a nice picture. I used it as a thumbnail on my YouTube video, and everyone else was just taking selfies and stuff, stopping on that bridge. It was halfway, and it's obviously about 600k done. It's crazy to think that would usually be the longest ride of the season. At that point, I'd usually have at least one knackered knee and maybe one grumbling Achilles, and think, I'm glad I don't have to ride one more pedal stroke, because I'm going to injure myself. But I was all right at this one, thankfully.
It's funny you should mention about not following your route. That's just reminded me. I did have all the stages loaded into my Wahoo, but I just followed the signs, and that was enough. Or you you'd follow the rider ahead.
That's it. I think there was maybe a handful of moments in the centre of villages where I might have, in the middle of the night, where potentially I could have gone wrong. But if in doubt, you just stop, and within a minute, someone would come past.
I know on the first night, I'd have like 500. I've done 500 kilometers, absolutely knackered, and that's the last thing. That's the last thing you want to be having to put with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was about that time, because I'm thinking about it in my head right now, like you're taking me through the memories, and that was pretty much on the way back in the dark when it was very cold, going through some of these villages. There were kind of banks that were open. They had cash point rooms where you walk in and there's 3 cash points on one side and 3 on the other, and you go in and they're publicly available, publicly open, and they were filled with people with sleeping bags. Not even sleeping bags, just survival blankets.
I didn't see this.
Yeah. I came through at a different time to you. I was way after, and it was day 3 or 2.5 or something, and it was like the day after tomorrow or something, where people just keeling over at the side of the road. You just see random cocooned bike riders with a bike that had fallen over and a rider just wrapped up in some blanket or whatever they could get their hands on at the side of the road. I was feeling quite smug at that point because I was feeling all right.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, was there any point that you thought, I can't do this?
Right, the worst bit, I was with a cracking chap called Matt Swain from Bristol, and we were chatting absolute rubbish a bit about David Ginola, and about half an hour after that, I was just so cold and irritated. I just wanted to be absolutely alone, and any deviation in line or speed caused by the rider in front would just send me crazy. So I just dropped the wheel, plus I was super weak because I was so cold, and just prayed that I didn't get a puncture, because I must have had cold hands, and I can't change a puncture with cold hands.
No.
Yeah. It was pretty low, but Matt got me through it. I think it was talking about David Ginola that got me through it. So thank you, David Ginola.
I found that, we set off at different times, but for me, the final night was perhaps the worst, because there was just people chucking themselves off the bikes, trying to get some sleep. All the emergency blankets were out. I'm sure they had a name for it, like the dead zone or something. I can't remember what it was.
Somewhere around Drew.
Yeah, it was, but it was amazing at the same time, because it was so open, and there'd be a line of bicycles ahead of you, and all you could see was hundreds of blinking red lights. It was quite. I don't know. At the same time, it was very inspiring.
Yeah.
It was just.
So how many nights did you do? Because I was in the 90-hour group, and you were in 84.
Yeah.
And you went round in what, 80?
Yeah, I think it's 81 in the end.
You got around in 81, so you took 6. Hang on, 80. So my finishing time's on the wall here. 87, 40, 49, I think I said.
Yeah.
Miami, 6 hours difference. But you started way after me, right?
I started at 5 a.m. You was up in like the first wave, wasn't you?
Yeah, so you would have passed me at some point on the road. Why didn't you say hello? You didn't see the stack of rear lights as you zoomed past.
For anyone thinking about doing PvP at some point in the future, what advice would you give to them?
I'm sat here with a experience of having someone else do all the logistics for me. So in terms of that sort of stuff, can't really comment.
You chose, like I said, you chose the 90-hour group. That's probably a wise decision for somebody who perhaps thinking about doing PvP for the first time.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, although my group had a mixture of people, most of whom hadn't done it before, I think, and a bunch of them were doing it in the 80s and the 84s, and I don't think anyone suffered due to their decision of time limit. I think everyone just be sensible about that, because if you're a full value rider, you don't go 80 hours. I have been known to ride audaxes very fast, but I fancied enjoying myself as much as possible and having some time and not being sleep deprived, and also riding a fixie, which slows you down a little bit as well. So yeah, I never once regretted doing 90 hours, because I think whilst it's an audax, it's almost like a celebration of cycling. Just it's more of
You
a,
might never do it again.
yeah, potentially not. I know people that have done it and thought, okay, that's in the bag, not again.
Yeah.
I kind of did think that when I finished, but now considering it, yeah, I'll definitely do it again.
Okay, for final question from me before I move on to some questions from the viewers is England or Wales?
Well, Wales has got all these. Okay, let's start with the downsides of Wales. So when you're trying to get food in places, they've always got these Welsh cakes. They're always filled with like butter and stuff, and you've got the traditional cafes and that with full cream everything. So that's probably the biggest grumble, but that means everything else is great. So you've got mountains, you've got lanes, you've got quiet main roads, you've got those big trunk roads if you time it at the right time. You've got massive, great big motorways almost that you can just smash up to the top of Wales and back. I'm probably thinking of the A470. Yeah, you got a selection of like top 100 climbs, you know, the ones like the Tumble, Black Mountains,
Devil's Staircase, is it?
Devil's Staircase, Devil's Elbow,
Yeah.
the Regos, the Bulk.
As I mentioned here, I got some questions that came in from viewers. So I'm going to throw these at you, see what they come up with. So I've got the first one from, he calls himself Saddle Sore. He's asking, is it true that Adam has been commissioned by McVitie's to develop an entire range of sports biscuits? If so, when and where will they be available?
Yeah, it's a secret collaboration with Huel. I can't tell you much, but if you mix ginger nuts with Huel, you get absolutely groundbreaking bit of nutrition there. So I can't really divulge, if you see what I mean, but wait and see. Thanks, Saddle Sore.
There's another question for Saddle Sore as well. What does Adam's dream pile of dirt look like, and where did his healthy obsession with dirt come from?
I think they just sneak up on you, don't they? And you can't have them getting one over on you. So I kind of turn the tables on the dirt, and now I sneak up on them. So that answers the second bit. Dream pile of dirt, so it's got to be good in various aspects. You know, like when you're playing Pro Evo soccer and you've got a football player and you need to have a bit of creativity and he needs a little bit of anticipation and he needs a little bit of pace. All right, so your piles of dirt, they've got to be big enough. You can't be having like a little pile of nothing in the middle of a field. It's got to be decent size, and I'm talking width and height. All right. Smell. Well, you can't really judge it on smell, I don't think, because sometimes the wind blows in the wrong way and you can falsely grade down the pile of dirt. So I wouldn't take. If you're getting some smell, then by all means comment. But sometimes some of these piles, they can actually be human sewage related. There was someone in one of my videos who was obviously a pile of dirt expert, actually told me that this pile of dirt that I was complaining that stank was human sewage related. Okay. And about 6 months later, this field was obviously, it had been spread into the field, and like 6-foot corns had sprouted up, and then obviously a few months later they'd gone. So I'm thinking people are actually buying in the supermarket corn that has been, you know, the nutrition for that corn is actually human sewage.
Yeah,
absolutely disgusting.
Yeah,
it's obviously a real thing. Yeah, so there's that. And what else is part of dirt? The pinnacle is when you've got some sort of living creature on top. The bigger the better. So sometimes you've got birds and they're pecking on top because there's worms and that inside and they want to peck around on top. But sometimes you get sheep and goats. I've had goats before. Goats love to climb on anything, don't they? Like you see videos on the internet of goats climbing on top of cows. That's quite entertaining.
Didn't you once ask some of your viewers to send in some pictures, piles of dirt?
Yeah, I was suffering a real shortage here in the southwest. I don't know what happened. There was a period of time where there was a drought, and when I make a video, I like to put in a pile of dirt, and I had to apologise. And I thought to myself, these people probably pass in piles of dirt themselves. Instead of complaining, why don't they just snap a picture on their smartphone and email it to my email address? and I can put it in my video. So that's how that started, and I got a few submissions. I got bored after a few more, and there's probably some in my inbox which I've ignored now. But I have apologized to the viewers for that. I'm not very good at what's the word? Viewer engagement.
Okay, let's go on to another question. This one's from Michael Fulcher. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's talking about LEL. Now, I don't know if you've done London, Edinburgh, London, but I know you've done longer distances and things like that. He says, what tips do you have or might you have for a long distance audax like the LEL? And are you hoping to do it in 2022?
Oh, yeah, blimey. So, say hello to Michael. He messaged me the other day. He's kicking butt on his type 2 diabetes with cycling, so he's done really well. LEL is definitely something I'd love to do. I have not done it before. I think I've passed up the opportunity probably only once, actually. When was it? 2017? Must have been. Yeah, 2017. And is it every 2 years or 4 years?
It's every 4 years. It was meant to be next year, but it's been pushed forward.
So 2013, it obviously clocked on my radar because I was doing my first audaxes, and the chat with the guys with the beards and the steel bikes was all like, "Are you doing LEL?" and all this, and I was thinking, what the hell is LEL?
What's
I
that?
have to look this up when I get home. Yeah, so yeah, I've heard about it a couple of times, but I was at the point in my cycling where I was getting really bad knee pain. Seemed to have got over the worst of that, fingers crossed. But I got to a point where I thought I'd never be able to ride more than 60 miles again. And then a month later, it'd be better. And yeah, but after finishing 600s, almost every time I'd have a week off the bike because my knees were so bad. So LEL and stuff bigger than 600, I kind of wrote off. But yeah, I'd definitely love to do it. Definitely. Might even ride from Bristol. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
If you could give just one tip to Michael for taking on long distance audaxes, what would it be? Or maybe your top three?
Okay. Don't force yourself to do it. You're obviously going to want to do it. If you think you're going too fast, you are going too fast. 100%.
Yeah.
That's got to be the biggest thing. Slow down. And it's never too early to start eating, I think. It's if you go more than an hour, when you get into the meat of an audax, you're a few hours in and all your glycogen's gone and you're actually running off the stuff you're feeding yourself. At that point, if you're not eating every hour, then something's going badly wrong. So go slower, eat more, be sensible, and don't do it unless you really want to do it.
Yeah.
It's like sorts of bikes. When people say, what's the best bike to ride? I think it's the bike that you really want to ride, even if it's not kind of the perfect bike and doesn't make sense. Technically, if you don't want to ride it, you're not going to ride it. So, that's what I would say.
I think it's more about the rider's ability than the bike itself, both physically and mentally.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've seen people riding audaxes on mountain bikes. Did you see those guys doing PvP, those Indians on fat bikes? I saw the guy going the other way, and it was at the time where I was heading back to Paris, and they were still going to Brest. And I thought, you're out of time so badly. But the guy was loving it.
Even if without the time, it's still an amazing achievement.
Yeah, what I picked up on it was some of the nations that attended, it wasn't mostly about finishing the event for them. It was about being there and having that holiday, vacation, being part of something massive. And if the controls had packed up by the time they came through, then so be it. They're still out there having a great time.
Yeah, and you can't fault anybody for that, can you? Because it really was an amazing experience all around.
Yeah, and it gives everyone else a laugh to see how many hours behind they are as well.
On the fat bikes, yeah.
On their fat bikes.
I got a question from David Corkill. He wants us to discuss saddles and wants to know what saddle you currently use and what is it you look for when you buying a saddle.
What would I say about saddles? So my experience is I started off coming from stock saddles or whatever you want to call it, like the basic ones that Cannondale ship with their bikes. So I did a year or two on those. I was fine with them. I mean, I don't think I'm that sensitive to different types of saddles. I haven't tried the ones with the channel cut out the middle. All I've tried is those bog standard ones that come with the bike. I've tried this charged spoon, which is, I think it's great because it's cheap and it works. So it's pretty heavy. It's like 100 grams heavier than some of my other saddles. Obviously, about finding whatever works for you. What works for me is a charged spoon.
I think it's hard to give an answer to David. I mean, my advice would be, would also not just be the saddle, would be about applying cream often as well, so you don't chafe and you don't get less sores and things like that. So find a cream what works for your backside as well as the seat itself. Wouldn't you agree? It's not just.
I would 100% agree. Yeah, I have to have a regular regime of creaming, and having, when you're planning a massive ride, or the most recent big ones I've done, so PBP and LEJOG, the back pockets are what you need the most often. So I have my camera, I have some food, and often gloves and the stuff you need all the time. And now I've got a 50ml gooch cream pot as well, like a squeezy gooch cream. So you have to nip it in the bud. If you're feeling a little bit of chafe, you want to stop and do something about it then, not in 10 minutes time. So have the gooch cream like in a jersey pocket ready to go. I got people I know that won't even use the stuff, and I think I want to be more like them. So like, don't use it. You don't need it. You're not soft. You're hard like them.
I guess a good chamois pad as well on the bib shorts.
Yeah, it's all got to work together. So unfortunately for me, it means spending a lot of money on ASOS shorts. I've got one pair of DHBs that I like. I've got one pair of DHBs that are horrible. But yeah, you got to find something that works for you.
I've got one more question here from Peter Hartle, who's put he's asked about front basket and whether I can have one of your front baskets. And it should be known that we've had a few messages back and forth between ourselves, haven't we, about front baskets and things like that. Because I'm looking for TCR next year.
You'll be the first TCR rider with a front basket. That'll be absolutely groundbreaking in the history of cycling.
Probably would. It probably would. So yeah,
let's do it.
I think why I'm leaning towards a front basket like yourself is when I did LEJOG, my the handlebar I've got on mine, I found it so fiddly and frustrating all the time, camping stuff in and out. So yeah, that's why I'm kind of looking for a better solution for multi-day events. So yeah, we haven't spoken about LEJOG actually, have we?
No, we haven't. No.
Why did you start doing LEJOG then? Was it just watching me doing it? It seemed to be like you did it a week later.
I know, it seemed like that way, didn't it?
Yeah.
I've got a PayPal receipt to prove money down the drain and all that. I paid what's his name, the guy that organises it. I entered his LEJOG. Fair play to him for planning it. Sadly, it didn't come off, but there was a calendar event for LEJOG, wasn't there? Was it 5 days or 6 days? No, it wouldn't be 6 days. It was probably more like 4.5. That's it, 4.5 days. And it was, I finished in 5 something, but my route was like 100k longer. So he's obviously snuck in some even horribler main roads in there to cut out some of the distance. Oh yeah, that's it. He finished up. Is it called the A9 up the coast along? Hang on, I'm a mirror. Along that side.
Through Wick and
yeah, that's it.
Inverness and Wick and John O'Groats that way.
I wouldn't want to do that road unless it was night time.
Because you did the route I did, didn't you? Went through the middle, through the bridge of Erne or whatever it's called, and
Bonner Bridge, Betty Hill.
Bonner Bridge, that's it. Yeah. It was that's some great views around there when you finally got up to that hill and you can look all the way down on the bridge. I
think I didn't quite make it to Bonner Bridge because I was the other side of the water and then took this weird snurgly footpath and then had to cross a footbridge that you did as well.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
So what are we saying about LEJOG then? I loved it. What else is there to say?
Would you do? I know I would do it again. Would you?
Yeah. If what's the guy's name? The Burnley Audax guy, Andy Corliss. If he's doing it again, 2020, 2022, whatever, then I think I'd definitely do it. It's a bit more. It would probably be the same pace that I rode it at, to be fair, because it's less distance and less time than I took. I think I worked out that if I had ridden what I did in line with the audax regs, I'd probably be about 3 or 4 hours out of time. So I pretty much almost rode it to audax pace, but sadly didn't. So yeah, I know I can do it, and I don't think I would do it any different. I wouldn't want gears. I don't think I got on so well with the fixie going on there wasn't anything steep at all, so it was just you kind of go into a zen state of, am I stood up, am I sat down, there's nothing else to think about, and then you can use your grey cells to think about wider things like world politics and entertain yourselves with piles of dirt rather than thinking about changing gear.
When it came to accommodation, did you B&B it?
Yeah, I went proper sort of catered, low luggage. I was lightweight.
Yeah.
Hotels every night. Yeah, hotels every night. My house was on the route after the first day as well, so it was even fewer.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I had family for the first stop. I had my house for the second stop. The next stop was Warrington. So my first actual paid accommodation was Warrington, which is pretty far up.
So I'm going to ask Adam a few things about his channel now. You started back in 2013. I think you told me that already. But how did you get? Why rather? Did you start just sharing your journeys on YouTube?
I started audax in 2013, but videos started in 2016.
Okay.
I took out this little camera. I bought a Polaroid Cube, which was like 100 quid or something. And I took it out because I wanted to take stills, because I don't like stopping and getting my phone out and dropping my phone on the floor. And so I wanted this little camera just to take little photos. So I did that for a little while. And then I thought, come on, it's got video on it. Let's do something. Because I was watching people at the time. Who was I watching at the time? I probably watched a few Jury and Rider videos. The guy from Australia. He's gone to rubbish now. But in like 2015, he was quite fun to watch. And I thought, go on then, let's have a go. So yeah, did that. First few videos got about 10 views. Because I was on Facebook at the time. I'm not on Facebook anymore, but I think I shared it on Facebook, and yeah, probably
get your friends to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. So it started from small beginnings, and I have 1,000 people watch every video now, pretty much.
So, can you share with people watching what your sort of creative process is when you go and get around to do your videos? Where do you get your ideas from?
Probably best just to pick up the camera and just chat about what's on your mind. Otherwise, if you think about it too much, you never actually put any content out. Think about what it is that you get excited about, and there's probably other people out there that get excited about there as well. So, example, chain stretch. People love to know how stretched the chain is. So just make a big deal about that. How stretched is my chain? Click here to find out. Could be my next clickbait video title. Don't do clickbait, it's annoying. Tell you why I make videos then. So basically my strategy is, I've got a Chromebook. I don't actually have any good hardware, and I just use WeVideo, which is like an online editor thing. So all my clips have to go online first, and then once they've uploaded, which takes an age, then I can edit them in the software, and I just put the clips one after the other. So I thought about making a video one time about doing a bit of bike maintenance and trying to film different clips and explaining things, but it ended up being so much faff that I just thought, it's just easier just to take a camera out on a bike ride and just go out and maybe set out to visit something. That's sometimes a good one.
So looking back over your numerous adventures then over the years, which would you say has been your most favourite, and why?
Probably Paris, I think.
Yeah.
But LEJOG comes a close second, doesn't it, really? Let's be honest. Yeah. I think every time you do something massive, that's like your most favourite activity that you've done. So when I did my first 200, I was over the moon with that. Similarly with my first 300. 400, 600. The list goes on. But yeah, I think LEJOG's pretty cool because it was at a time we weren't in lockdown. We were in that window during the summer where the case numbers were low, and it was a case of not being safe and trying not to spread it around the country.
Yeah.
Which doing LEJOG probably isn't that good for that, but
there was a period of time where it was like you couldn't do too much cycling because people would be on Strava moaning and like Strava police. So when July came along, it was nice just to be able to get out and do what the hell you wanted again.
Yeah, it was like a bit of freedom, wasn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Even then, I was in Scotland and they were saying you can't come to various places in Scotland.
I didn't have any problems up there, did you? I thought everybody was really friendly.
I had no problems, no. Even the lady in the convenience store up in, what's the other place that has a train line in the very top of Scotland? There's Thurso.
Oh, yeah.
Thurso. Even the lady in the convenience store at Thurso was happy to help me out when I was trying to find this niche alcohol called Bucky. And yeah, people were great. She was like, I can't do the impression. I need someone here who can do a Scottish impression. Yeah, I've slept in a field on a 400 once. That was a good one. That was that was a good story. That I was back in the time where I used to like going fast, and I had the old strap-on aero bars at the front, and I just went solo and did a 400 down to is it Weymouth with it's got like a little island at the bottom with a lighthouse on it. Portland Bill.
Okay.
Anyway, some people will know what I'm on about. So I went from Bristol right down to there and back up again as a 400, and I took with me in a gym bag on my back a dinosaur onesie made of cotton, and a bivvy bag, and I ended up in a field because I didn't know. I thought, oh, TCR's cool. Let's do what they do on TCR. And I thought I'm just going to take my sleeping gear and not figure out where I'm sleeping. I'm going to just wing it. And I ended up in a field.
Dressed as a dinosaur.
Dressed as a dinosaur inside a bivvy bag. Rather cold, listening to what I've discovered since was probably foxes copulating. They were so noisy. I thought something bad was happening. I thought some creature was like warning their mates that I was sleeping in their field and they were going to come and get me. So I don't know if I slept very much in that field. But why are we talking about this? Because of 400s.
Yeah. About the most memorable moments are. Yeah, that's brilliant.
It got better because I was cold in the morning, and the only way you can properly pack up your bivvy bag and set off is to wear a warm jacket. Anyway, I didn't have that, so I had my dinosaur onesie. I was stood there with my dinosaur onesie, and it's got built-in feet on it as well, so you can't even have your feet sticking out the bottom. It has feet on it. So
Okay.
I had to put my feet in. I had to use that as socks and put my cycling shoes on over the top of this dinosaur onesie feet.
This is
And
daylight last time.
It just got light. Yeah, I think it was light enough for me to see what I was doing.
It was light enough for other people to see you as well, Adam.
Sadly, yeah. I cycled off dressed like that.
Talking about dressing up while you were cycling then, didn't you do the Festive 500 last year?
Yeah, I did, but I don't know if I dressed up, did I?
I was thinking whether you was dressed up as Santa, that's all.
I could have done, couldn't I? But I could have delivered presents to people in Cambridge.
Yeah.
That was a cracker. Hope it's on again this year, because we got lockdown now, and then next month, December, maybe legit again for 600s.
Yeah. I think I might consider that in December myself this year.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do one where we meet in the middle.
Is that one of Will's Hills?
It was. Yeah, but it's Will's Hills, but not many hills. The Festive 500. I did it fixed, and it wasn't too bad at all.
Good. That sounds doable. So there's winter just around the corner, and next year as well. Have you got any big adventures coming up in the future that you can share with us?
I'd like to do LEJOG again. I'd like to do LEL. Sadly, that's cancelled. I'll be doing some long DIYs. But nothing really in particular, you know. Like I'm not going around the world. I'm not doing Badlands. I'm not doing TCR. So you can chuck me in the boring pile. I'll fill my time somehow.
I'm sure you keep us all entertained anyway. So I've got one final question that I've been asking everybody on this show. I've got a bit of a leaderboard running. It's the N+1 leaderboard. So
Cool.
The question is, how many bikes do you own?
Let me count them for you, one by one. Right, Brompton. One on the wall behind me. I got a Super 6 in the loft.
These are working bikes, yeah?
Okay, that doesn't work. I got a Van Nick Yukon, which is my main audax bike, I guess.
Yeah.
I've got a fixed gear bike. I've got a shopping bike, which is that hybrid that I got. I got a track attack. I think we're done here. So we're 6.
That's really good. That you're at the top of the table. Well, actually, you're actually in joint first.
I don't often win things, but you know.
Yeah, you're actually in joint first with a guy called Leonard Lee. I don't know if you're familiar with his channel.
I saw it pop up. You did you premiere a video with him?
Came out.
Has it gone out yet? Oh, it's come out Friday. Sorry, I haven't seen it. That's bad. Isn't it?
Gone, yeah. If you want to watch it back, yeah, he's also got 6 bikes as well. So, yeah,
that's the optimum number, I find. That guys, look at that on your screen. I'm like right at the top.
Folks, don't forget to tune in for the next time and see if somebody else can knock Leonard and Adam off the top spot.
I don't think they will.
Do we reckon?